Dion, continue, please.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So it's funny when I hear that this meeting is now being recorded. All right. So I just want to just check in that it sounds like we went through a demo, and which allowed us to at least get started with doing some recordings in Test Complete, which is great news. Um, so it seems that we are at least on target for the initial scheduled date
Yes,
that
ma'am.
we had planned, with today being our review day, correct? And
You are correct. Yes, ma'am.
okay, so other than that, I'd like to use this call to walk through the next steps so that anything that Madhavi has faced so far that she can share with the team in the moment to unblock her.
No
And
problem.
so Ed, do we have the right folks on the call that could go ahead and help her?
Yes, ma'am. So we have Emma with us, and we also have Shane. Emma is going to be the engineer that is going to be with us throughout this entire POC. And then Dion, as you know, Shane is responsible for CBT. I mean, he's our expert, and he will answer any questions that we have regarding CBT.
Yeah, but I don't. So Madhavi, as far as CBT, did you and Dinesh do anything on CBT or?
No, not yet. At least I didn't work on the CBT. I'm just trying to record the basic, create a reservation
And
and finding a reservation. Two simple scenarios.
Okay. Okay. Well, okay. I didn't have any more than that, Madhavi. I didn't. I wanted to make sure we were on track, and you had the ability to share and get the help you needed this morning, uh,
Okay.
and progress.
Okay.
so,
Um,
the,
yeah, go ahead.
so Dion, as I mentioned to Mavi, um, when it was just us on the line. What I would like to do for these calls is on Thursdays. Well, hopefully next week we're back on like the regular schedule where we can meet on Thursdays. Um, During those sessions on Thursdays, any issues that they have, they can share that information with Emma. Um, Emma can, walk them through how to resolve those issues, and then on Friday they can try to resolve them themselves. If they aren't able to resolve them, that following Monday we can schedule a tech call, um, where we can have the demo share, we can have the engineer share their screen, we'll walk through them through the solution, and then on Tuesday we can address just to make sure that we stay on schedule with this PLC. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay, perfect. Mavi, I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, I think that
Yes.
would be the most helpful, just so we can see what's going on.
Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, these are not perfect, and I was just playing with my scenarios. And here's what I've got. So test 3 and test 5, I've created these, and these ran successfully. But I will show you what I was doing here on the regular browser. So this is our Motel 6 site, and I was trying to create a reservation here. So what I did was I picked our destination where I want to book it. Then I selected the date. And let's say I just want one night and just one adult. I'll say go. And when I come to this screen, I select this, scroll down, and I'll check what I want to book, whether it's a one full bed, one queen bed, whatever is available. So here, let's say I just go here and click this one. So it'll ask me to enter my, details. So I'm just showing you the scenario that I wanted to work through. So this is what I do. Um, So here's where I come and I check for my confirmation number here and my, total in property currency. So this is just the create reservation piece of it. And this is what I try to do here. But when I try to run this one, for some reason, the test, when I run this, it's taking the default date as today's date, and it's not taking the date that I select. So I'll try to, let's say I run this test now. I'll execute this. Oh, I probably have to close this out. Sorry, I think I'll rerun it. That date doesn't change. It's still the second.
Right. So it looks like it got to selecting the month, but it never went through and selected the day in that month. So then it just defaulted to the day that was there.
Yes. I've done this so many times, it still takes the same date. So I don't know what's going on. So that's my, question on the date thing. I don't know how to solve that. What's going on? Is there some setting that needs to be done? Why is it not taking the date that I pick while recording?
Right. So let's take a look at that step in your test where you're selecting the date.
Do you want me to go back to the test?
Yep. Okay. And then do you have a okay, so it's this, and then the button 30 is the step where we should be clicking on the date itself.
Yes.
Can you open up your website to that page, please?
Yeah, sure.
So if at any time you're trying to, investigate something or make modifications, you'll just have to have the page that has that specific object on it so that we can kind of like take a look at it.
Okay.
So in this case, now that you have it open, if you go back to test complete, and if you use this button at the top here, we call this the object spy. So it lets us inspect the elements on the page. So you can use the second option since it's kind of like a drop-down menu almost, in the sense that
this one here?
Yes.
Point and fix?
Yep, because it's not directly on screen, so we can't use the target because we have to perform an action before that opens up. So now you can see in the upper right-hand corner, we're in object selection mode. So you can take your mouse, open up that calendar for me.
Okay.
And you did navigate to September, is that correct?
No, I was in August.
Oh, just August?
Yeah, that was another question that I had. Why was it taking me to the, future month when I was still in August?
Right. Okay. And what date was it that you were trying to select?
Oh, I randomly picked some date. I don't remember. Maybe the 7th or the 9th. 7th, probably.
Okay, just a day that wasn't today.
Yeah.
So we can, you can press Shift, Control, and A all at the same time now that we have our mouse over that date.
Shift, Control, and Alt. Okay.
And A. Just the what you see in the upper right hand corner, Shift, Control, A.
Oh. Hey. Okay.
Okay. And then can you click on this button here?
Which one?
Right
Here.
up below the red X in the object spy. Oh, sorry. Right here.
Oh, here.
Right on the object spy, it's the button below the red X in the upper right hand corner. Yes. Yep.
Okay. Sorry. I'm just
Oh,
trying
that's
to figure
okay.
out where it is.
No worries. Okay, so you can close this here.
This one, the object spy.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so can you expand this panel here? We need to find that object. Okay, maybe can you go to your project workspace? Right over here. Can you right click on this, or actually can you right click on the step above that? Sorry, on text box date input right over here.
Okay.
And can you click show in object browser? We just want to see, okay. And then we need that calendar to be open. If you open that on the page, will it stay open if you come back into this application, or will that close?
You mean the browser?
Yeah, so if you open this up and then you navigate back to this complete.
So what do I have to do? Sorry.
I need you to open up that calendar so that we can take a look at what.
Oh, just this. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out if you then navigate back into test complete, will that calendar stay open or will it close?
I think it'll close probably. Yeah. No, the calendar is open.
Okay, so let's see where that is. Can you go back to test complete for me? Sorry.
Sure.
And then can you go back to your workspace? So this is where the drop down is, but then can you right click on the button below that and show an object browser? Okay, so this is why we're not picking. All right, so this is a good lesson here. So sometimes if things are named generically, so the way that, can you go up to the table here?
Okay.
So this is our calendar. And what happened is Test Complete was trying to map, it looks like I think you clicked on 30 because the button is saying 30. So
Okay.
if this is also, so if we identify this number with just the fact that it's a button, then Test Complete picks any button, right? And so what happened is this is also technically a button in this calendar. And so instead of clicking on the number 30 and selecting your date, Test Complete was clicking on the next button, and that's why we were seeing it go to September. So all we have to do here is if we go to one of the days, so we can either set this to like a generic always pick the first, Or in this type of situation, sometimes what you can do is you can just type the date in if you're having trouble with the date picker. But let's see if we can get this to work picking a date. So let's go down and see if we can find one of those numbers. So we'll have to go a little bit lower. I think it must be in the second row. So maybe cell 20. That might be a day. Okay, so
8. Oh, okay.
let's
Going
pick
through.
one in the middle of the month, like maybe like 15. So let's go down here. You don't have to use the plus. You can just click on, okay, 13, that's fine.
Okay.
So let's see if this, so the interesting thing, okay, it does have content text. So all we have to do is also add the content text to that object in our name mapping, and that will distinguish the number from the arrow. So if you go back to your project workspace, and then we'll right click on this, but instead of saying object browser, we'll say the name mapping because that's where our objects are stored. The object browser is more of just a look at everything in the application, whereas in the name mapping, it's, you know, objects that we've actually mapped. So you can scroll down in here until we get to scroll over. Okay, so button 30. So if you go up one level here, I just want to see nothing to display. Okay, what if you go up to the table? Okay, so it sees the table, and then it picks a cell, and then, so let's go to button 30. Let's right click in this space here and click edit. So we're just going to add another identifier. So if you search for content text in this box here, or you can just do content. Okay, so let's take this property and use this arrow to move it over to the properties we're using. And then what we'll do is we'll edit this to say 13 because we're going to pick the 13th number. So if you click on this, it should give you a little, you should be able to edit. Oh, don't double click it because that will move it back.
Okay. Okay. I just have to click it once.
And then just a single click, sometimes it should, or maybe just see if you can type into this area here. There we go. You can just type 13. If it doesn't let you, you'll need this thing.
Yeah.
And then you can type 13 there. Okay. And then click the highlight button. Let's see if
it's still showing the next month thing.
It is?
Yeah, it's pointing to that.
Okay. Click OK. Click yes. And then what I'm unsure about is why this. Can you go up one level to the cell date picker? Nothing to display. See, this is interesting. Can you go down to this one? Okay. And can you just zoom in a little bit on this screenshot here? And then, okay, so that is finding that object. Okay. What we're gonna do is we're just going to take this and move it outside of the cell because this has no identification properties. So we'll just,
how would I do that?
So if you just drag, actually,
30?
Can you, before you do that, can you right click on it for me?
Sure. And
click find mapped object. Just because we'll have to move it in the mapped section, not just the aliases section. So if we go up, so you can just drag this down a little bit. Oh, that's interesting. Here, it's outside of that. Huh. Okay. So can you, let's go to your test. The test that we just ran, test 3.
Yeah.
And then let's right click on this step and just do run selected operation. So this is a way that we can just test if one step is working. Perfect. Okay. So now we made that step unique enough that it should click on the date instead of the arrow. So let's try rerunning your whole test from the beginning and make sure that everything is working as expected.
Or maybe I should close the browser again. I think we have too many browsers. Let me close this. I think it'll fail.
Yeah, usually it will give you a warning.
Just a second.
So it's Dion. I have to drop now, but just listening in. So great instruction. Monavie as the next step. If you would just please just make sure you fully understand that, and then Ed, it'd be great if you could share this recording with us as well.
So, Dean, I will share the recording. That won't be an issue.
Okay.
I only have one ask from you, because of the amount of time that we have for the next meeting. Can we make sure that Dinesh is here? Just because if he's having any issues, I want to make sure that we can address them and that we can stay on our target time of concluding the POC by 8:20.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. And also we have a hard stop with Emma as well in 5 minutes. So yeah, so everyone's on a time crunch today, but that's fine.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Bye, Dan.
Thank you.
So let's run that test and just make sure that that fix is and the test should still work in the minimized browser, but you may want to just maximize that window if you can.
Yeah, that went to the next step. Let's take the first few steps.
I think my meddling made it angry. Sorry. So let's close the browser and try that one more time now that we have it maximized. And there we go. So that definitely selected August 13th for us there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that worked.
Perfect.
So just briefly before we have to drop off here, does it make sense you know, what I was doing there? I know we went through a lot of steps. Do you
I
understand?
know that's exactly where I'm like, we went through so many things. Now I don't know where exactly to go. And, if you don't mind sending me the steps, the brief steps of what needs to be changed. I know we went through tables and everything, but,
Yeah,
in a couple of steps, if you can just give me those one or two steps that need to be done, that'll be great.
right. So the good news is that what we just did, it's not really like a specific set of steps. That's kind of more of like my just way of troubleshooting. Is
Okay.
like first we'll take a look. Like I guess the starting point is to, and I'll type these out for you as well, but the starting point is to take a look at the exact step that you're
Mhm.
having trouble with. So start
Okay.
there. And if you um, if you right click on it,
Mm-hmm.
I always start with taking a look at the button in the object browser, because
Okay.
that's the place that just shows you the application and not
Uh-huh.
necessarily how test complete has mapped something. So it
Uh-huh.
really gives you a clear, oh, it's not open, that's why. So
Oh.
if you want to inspect it in the object browser, you just have to have that page open.
Oh, okay. That's an important piece that I need to remember. Yeah.
Yeah, so I will write these steps down, but I usually head to the object browser, take a look and see if I can figure out, like it was pretty clear when we went to the object browser that it was,
Uh-huh.
the picture was of the arrow, not the number. And so I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what the problem is. So then we take a look at the name mapping and we
Uh-huh.
notice that it's only mapped using the fact that it's a button. And there are a lot of buttons in that calendar. So then, in our case, we just added one more property to identify that button that made it unique from those other buttons. And the
Okay.
text within that object was something that made it unique.
Okay.
But I will write that out. I'm sorry that I do have to head out now.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, Emma.
Yes, of course, no
Thank you,
problem.
Emma.
Bye, guys.
Thank you,
Bye.
Emma. Bye-bye. So, Mavi, if you have any other challenges, feel free to email that information to me, and I will share it with Emma,
Okay.
and then we can schedule a demo on Monday.
Okay.
It's very similar to
And
this, so you can walk
okay.
through. So Emma can walk you through how to resolve those challenges. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And while we have a couple of minutes, I was talking to Shane, and Shane noticed that you didn't have a trial of CBT. So, with that being said, I want to hand this over to Shane, so he can sort of gauge your interest in CBT. Okay.
Uh, I don't think I'm the right person to even answer that question because all I know is I'm just trying to play with the manual steps here. So yeah, but Shane, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Madavi. It's
Hi.
nice to speak with you. Yeah, I guess I wanted to, and again, only if you have some time here. But so we were working with Dinesh a bit, and I know he's had the opportunity to try out actually probably more cross-browser testing, and just moving forward, we'll just call it CBT for shorthand. He's had the
Uh-huh.
opportunity to try CBT, I think even a bit more than test complete, though he has had the chance to jump into both. Yeah, I was kind of wondering what your familiarity with CBT is up to this point. And yeah, if you had a little time, maybe just give you a background on it, and even can maybe
If you
do
can
a
hold
quick
on
screen
for a
share.
minute, I will. I'll make sure Dinesh is on the call.
Oh,
Can you
sure.
hold on?
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
I'm going to just forward the invite to Dinesh. I believe he doesn't have it. Uh, yeah, he's not on the invite, so I'll just forward this to him because he was here, but he never joined the call, so I wasn't. Uh,
Sure. Well, yeah, I think since the primary goal for today's call was mostly just troubleshooting with test complete,
yeah,
would definitely have preferred that Dinesh had the chance to join, but really not too big of a deal. I think we can
yeah. I
circle
just
back
sent
on
him
the
the
next call.
invite, so he should be joining in a couple of minutes.
Okay. Okay.
If you have the time.
Well, sure. So I guess, yeah, depending if Dinesh, well, it might change the conversation a little bit. So really, I guess.
So while we are on this call, I just want to ask a quick question. What I noticed on this Project Explorer is I don't see the events here, which Emma had. Is that something that's a part of setting, or how does it work?
That is something that I would have to have Emma respond to. So
Okay.
I will make note of that, and she can address that when she emails you the steps.
Yeah, because when I was going through the recording that you did earlier, she had the events on the Project Explorer, and I don't see it on my, you know. So I was wondering if it's some setting or is it some licensing thing. I'm not sure what it is. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess, Madhavi, just a little background for this. With cross-browser testing, really the goal and the reason that we're talking about it primarily is that for your purposes, so it sounds like you're coming a little bit more from the manual testing side and you're looking to create some automated tests. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Frankly speaking, I mostly work on the financials and, the HRIS system. So I usually don't work on the web browser at all. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep, that makes perfect sense then.
That's why I don't want to answer questions that about cross-browser testing and all that. So
No.
I'm not the right person to answer. Let me put it that way.
No, absolutely. And to be clear, I was more trying to just convey some information to help you understand the way that cross-browser testing will fit in to the way that you're using Test Complete is once you're able to stand up these Test Complete tests, cross-browser testing, so we're a cloud-based device lab, a lab based in Memphis, Tennessee, with a bunch of different browser OSs, resolutions, devices, 2,000 plus combinations of the different browsers that your customers might access your websites on. Where that's going to fit in for you in your use case is if you're using Test Complete, you are actually going to be able to send your tests that you create using that platform to our lab in CBT. So the benefit of using Test Complete, you're going to be able to obviously create these tests very easily, very quickly, and you'll be able to scale your automation. But as you saw when you run that test, it's consuming your local machine, right? It's going to take over that computer. Maybe you'll have a VM you can dedicate it to, but you're limited to the infrastructure that you can run that test on. Where CBT fits in is you take that exact Test Complete test, but instead of running it on your machine, you can just tell Test Complete to send that test to our lab. And now not only do you free up your own machine, but you can scale it across 10 machines at once or 20 machines at once just to reduce your overall test time. At the same time, we have the thousands of combinations of browsers to test on. So now you get the benefit of you get your machine back, you can test faster, and you can test across all the different browser combos your customers are testing on. So that would be the benefit of CBT with Test Complete, and really that there's no technical know-how there. Emma will definitely show you guys at some point, but you're basically just, when you run that test, you're dragging and dropping it into the CBT folder and saying, you're just picking the different browser versions that you want to run it on, and Test Complete takes care of the rest. Does that make sense?
Yes. I think Emma showed us a little bit the other day how it works.
Sure.
Yeah, so I have at least a small idea of how it works now.
Sure. Okay, perfect.
I think Dinesh is on the call now.
Dinesh, can you hear us?
Yes.
Dinesh, I'm having a hard time hearing you. I'm sorry.
Is it better now?
There you go. Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah. I'll just keep my mouth near my.
Hey, Dinesh, how you doing?
Doing good, sir. How are you, Ed?
Good. This is Shane here as well. Yeah, we just had a I guess sort of a troubleshooting technical session with Test Complete for the first half hour with Dion on the line as well. I think so, Dinesh. Following our last call, so I just had a chance to go over cross-browser testing a little bit with Madhavi, just sort of a high level and how it would connect with Test Complete. I guess kind of two things from my side. One, do you think it would make sense to schedule some kind of demonstration for cross-browser testing? I know you guys have the test complete portion, primarily covering test complete, and then it sounds like with a little snippet in there to at least show what that would look like sending to CBT. Here at CBT, we do work as a standalone platform as well. Especially obviously if you're coming from the Selenium world. Typically we would do our own demonstration and show you how to do Selenium stuff. I think for the most part, Dinesh, you probably have a pretty good grasp, at least from the automation piece. But there's a lot of other things you can do with cross-browser testing. So I think number one, I would want to know if we'd want to schedule a demonstration, ideally sometime early next week, for cross-browser testing specifically. And then number two, Dinesh, if you wanted to do, maybe we could combine it with that or do it separately, have a technical session to go over the stuff that you were referring to on our last call and see if we can address some of those things. So I think probably the demonstration would benefit Madavi and maybe any other folks who are a little bit newer or coming a little bit more from the manual testing side. And I think, Dinesh, I think the technical session would probably benefit you a little bit more. What would your guys' thoughts be on where we should go with regards to those two options?
Yes, I think that sounds really a great that we can cover both the things like CBT with test complete. That will be like your formal session on the CBT plus test complete integration, and the second session, or we can continue the same session with the second part of that will be like our existing scripts running on CBT and just discussing on the challenges that I faced during my initial evaluation.
Okay, so to clarify, step one would be a demonstration, and then step two, more of a deep dive technical session.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, we are fine to go with the same session early next week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, depend on everyone's availability.
Yeah, for sure. I think we have, so we have the 3 o'clock check-in conversation for next week.
For Tuesday of next week, correct.
Yep.
And then hopefully, we're hoping that Thursday we can have the call at the same time. The reason we have the call today was because Dion had a meeting yesterday, so we had to reschedule for today.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think Dinesh, we can either put those kind of back to back. We can a lot of flexibility there, I think. All right. Yeah. So whatever kind of makes sense on your side. Do you have a preference for timing? And I guess keeping in mind that are there other folks we think would benefit from seeing this demonstration?
Yeah. I think I'm fine.
Is it going to be a totally technical session, or is it going to be something that's going to benefit the manual testers as well?
Yeah, so I think this first session, session 1 of 2, will be pretty much a straightforward cross-browser testing demo. And the goal for that will be kind of start to finish. I guess sort of similar to Test Complete, much narrower learning curve though. Test Complete's still very, very simplistic, especially relative to starting a Selenium from scratch. But for CBT, yeah, I mean, I can do like a 15, 20-minute high-level demo for a lot of our customers, and then if we want to do a little bit more in depth, especially if you're doing Selenium, we save that for kind of the tail end, and that's like a 30, 45-minute session. But absolutely, manual testers make up a very, very large component, if not the majority of the users of cross-browser testing. But you can still do, you can actually just log into any of our sessions and do manual testing, either if that's your testing option of choice, or to supplement some of the automated stuff that you can't quite handle with an automated test.
Okay.
So yeah, the short answer would be definitely would be beneficial for any of the manual testers. Doesn't have to be very technical at all. And then session 2 will be a little bit more isolated towards Selenium and being a little tech heavy.
Yeah, I think the team would like to join the first one if it's something that is related manually. It's not a technical thing, so I think there are team members that would be interested in learning that.
For sure, for sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, I guess we can go back on our side, and I'll work with Eddie and maybe work with Dion, see what we can do as far as timing, what makes sense. We'll have to grab an engineer on my side as well, but we'll send something over to you guys today. Roughly speaking, beyond you, Dinesh, and Madavi, how many other folks, and do we know who they would be that would be interested in viewing that?
I can send you a list after this meeting.
Okay.
So yeah, you can have their email address.
Okay. Cool. We can send an invite directly then.
Sure.
And so, Dinesh, because you missed the first half of the call, I was curious if you've had any challenges with Test Complete that you wanted to discuss.
For web, I haven't had, not much challenges. I was able to just create a sample test. Also, I worked with Madhavi to have a first scenario automated. So then I started, I thought of, we have kind of distributed the workload, like Madhavi will be taking care of web parts, and I started looking into the mobile part since yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just referring the documentation that you sent yesterday. It seems that there are, a lot of prerequisites and setup needs to be done when it comes to the mobile, and especially I took the iOS part first. So I'm just going through the documents. So we do have some existing automation using APM. So I hope that IPA will work with the test complete. So I'll just go ahead and try that today. And if in case of any issues, I will just get back to you guys on that part.
Okay. And the only thing I ask is if you have any issues today, get back to me at least by the end of day, because my goal is to schedule a demo on Monday for you guys. So any challenges that you experience throughout the day, we can have Emma address on Monday. Probably set aside an hour demo so we can address that. Okay.
Yep. Sounds good.
Perfect. Outside of that, from both of you, everything else is going well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear. I want to make sure overall, I want to make sure that we stay on track, but I also want to make sure that we're meeting all of your needs as well. Okay.
Right.
Sure.
So at any point you have any challenges, don't hesitate to contact Shane or I, because we're here to help you guys. Okay.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. So Shane, if you don't have any other questions, I feel like it's a good time. I think we'll get about 10 minutes back in our days. And I look forward to speaking with everyone on Tuesday. Mavi, I guess the only thing we're expecting from you is to email Shane that list. And then Shane and I will look into the dates and times for the CBT demo. And as I just mentioned, if you guys have any issues, email us so we can schedule the demo for Task Complete on Monday. Okay?
Okay. I do have some more questions for Emma since Emma had dropped off the call sooner than I expected. So, but a few more questions on the set variable and those. But I will try to work on them and try to figure it out by, just experimenting with those. But I may come up with those questions again.
Mommy, that's not a problem at all. Only thing I ask is that you email me those questions, and then you can expect to email me from by the end of the day. If you're still having issues, we can go ahead and schedule that demo on Monday, so Emma can just walk you through how to resolve that. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
You.
You're welcome. You all have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.
Sure. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you
All
all.
right. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.